28-year-old Timroy Neal has been featured in our newscast on 3 prior occasions, beginning in June 2010 when he walked off a murder charge for his alleged role in the stabbing death of a Hattaville resident 4 years earlier. Tonight, his body remains at the morgue in Belmopan after he was ruthlessly gunned down on Thursday night in Roaring Creek.
One of my cousins called me and he asked me where I am. I tell him in my house in Ladyville, in my bed. So he said, I have bad news for you, cause he said, what happened? He said, they just shot your son last night. I said, what? They shot my son? I said, first thing I asked is, he died? He passed away? He said, yes. So I start screaming. I could start screaming and bawl. And I just run downstairs run downstairs and try to check my next son, because he was not home with me, so I can see where he lived and me. So when I reached downstairs, my son come up and he hugged me and tell him that my son passed away.
According to police, Neal was in the vicinity of Lucky Entertainment on the George Price Highway sometime after 10:30 p.m. when he was pursued by a lone gunman who executed him at point-blank range. Neal's murder took place just across the street from the Roaring Creek police station.
At this time, all I can say is that the victim, I think Timroy Neal, was associating at some entertainment spot in Roaring Creek last night, sometime around 10 p.m. And he was accosted by a lone gunman who fired shots at him and fatally wounding him. Police are looking for one person and the matter continues to be investigated.
Sir, are you able to say at this point if there is anything connected to Mr. Neal's past that may have resulted in his murder?
Well, I don't like to go into the past history of persons who are victims of murder, but I will advise you to go into your archives and you will see what you need to see there.
Indeed, back in 2015, Timroy Neal was a person of interest in the murder of Rosalia Galvez and subsequently the double murders of Russell Hyde and Marcy Humes in Roaring Creek Village. The deadly attack on Neal, captured on surveillance cameras mounted on the building, is particularly violent, as the gunman stood over his target and fired multiple times before fleeing the scene. It is the second of Avril Neal's sons to be dispatched in gangland fashion. As a mother, what are the thoughts going through your mind, seeing as though this is the second son you've lost to gun violence?
Well, man, to tell you the honest truth, it really hurt and it bring back flash memories to my next son. Because what I heard in Ladyville since my son died, you can't catch Harry or catch a shirt. That's what catch my son, because he was not a bad person. Everybody know Markel, he was not a bad person. And this one, people say he's not a bad man at Rolling Creek. But my son was a bad man. You fasted him, or you do him something, he will come after you.
It isn't clear what precipitated the incident. However, there are fears of a reprisal. News 5's Andrea Polanco sought answers as to what the department is doing to prevent a retaliation.
Is the police department closely monitoring that particular murder in terms of possible retaliation?
Of course we have to. Like you rightly said, you know if the person passed. And more than likely there may be some who may want to retaliate on his behalf. And so yes, we're monitoring the situation in Roaring Creek very closely to be able to see what we can do to avert any retaliation.
Sir, are people out there cooperating with the police when it comes to these kinds of crimes committed?
Well, you know, that's one of the difficult things, Andrea. People for good reasons are afraid at times to give statements to the police. And we understand that, and so we try to see how we can work around the human element of investigation. And that's one of the reasons why I have been embarking so heavily on the issue of putting in place surveillance cameras in different parts of the city, and we want to expand to the districts thereafter.
Avril Neal confessed that her son's murder came to her as a portent earlier in the day.
Yesterday I have a pain in my belly, and when you're having a child, that like you're having a baby, all over something wrong. So, I get the vibes. I feel it. I feel something wrong. But I don't know my son dead. My son will pass like that.
Reporting for News 5, I am Isani Cayetano.